Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy
Hello.
Wednesday. Pat, I'm so happy to see you're still here with me.
Yeah, that was a classic start to the show. Lila and I are sitting here talking about my beer, and then she's like, "Oh, the show's supposed to be on right now. We're live." So
we are live. We were
killing it.
pretty hard, killing it. We were trying to figure out all of our technical problems, which still persist. And alas, she persisted. So thank you for bearing with us. We really are at a bit of a loss. So Pat freezes and lags, and I freeze and have to force quit. And I'm not sure why.
Capitalism, baby.
I mean, I guess there's the next tier we could start paying for, but we're already, I mean, well, maybe that's just where we're going to go, but geez, Louise, it's crazy.
No, we pay StreamYard like way too much, and they don't help with any problems. I mean,
nothing. It's just
anyway.
they send you to a chat and they're like, yeah, basically it's just like unplug and replug it in.
Yeah. And, just so you know, I'm not computer illiterate. I mean, I worked for an internet company for 7 years. So
was that when you had erectile dysfunction?
That was a voting rights group, but that's a whole other story.
When I feel like they were alienating you.
ED Pat. Yeah, I think I shared that story sometime here.
Yeah, so sorry and thank you as always for bearing with us. Okay, Pat, how was your week?
My week was good. I will say that today, I've kept it quiet because I didn't want to jinx it, but I went 2 whole weeks without my cat waking me up, peeing on me in the morning. And then today, sure enough, I wake up with a cat just squatted over me.
Yeah. Why? Yep. What did you do to her? Was it to her or to Pablo? Striker?
No, it's the kitten. But they said when you get it neutered, sometimes that fixes it, but it could take up to a month. And then I had 2 good weeks there, and I'm like, okay, finally, I'm out of it.
Do they have kitty diapers?
I can't kitty diaper. That's just too much.
Well, maybe the shame of it would make her stop peeing on you.
Yeah. And
let her know who's boss.
My cat tower is right over my sofa, which is where I usually sleep in front of the TV.
Right.
And yesterday, and you can't blame the cat for this, but yesterday I woke up to the cat puking on me from the tower too. So there's that. It was
so as
for
you
a
know,
germphobe like you,
that would not fly for me.
Too much.
Thank you so much. That's crazy. I'm sorry. You're a very patient, good dad.
Still better than people. That cat is still better than people. So
that's true. That is true because she can't argue back. She can pee on you and puke on you, but she will not discuss.
She agrees with my politics, as far as I know.
That's right. The cat knows who's boss, and it's not the human.
Too true. How's your week? What's going on with you?
It was good. Oh God, I forgot to show something, which now I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to get it up here. But as you all know, it is baseball season for me, and which means that my whole life revolves around not only Xander, who's in town, and his baseball schedule, but my older son, Asher, I have his baseball schedule at college. And so I put that up on, it's like my whole thing. Sunday, I was so excited to watch the doubleheader. And then this is how Friday, though, went for Xander.
Oh, I forgot about that.
What do you think about that? That is my child's foot.
Yeah. How's he doing now?
He's actually doing fine. He's like, put me in, coach. I can pitch. It was a sprain and they wrapped it really tight. So I think that's really what happened. But what that means is like,
yikes.
Friday, we're going to one doctor. Then we're going to the specialist. We're making sure that insurance is going to push us through. It's like all that stuff. But more importantly, like, oh my God, is it broken? Is it a torn? Whatever. Anyway, let's hear it for youth because he's almost 100% now. I would be on my back in a hospital bed for a month,
Yeah, recovery times definitely change. For me, like, what the weird thing is, like, a bruise takes like 3 months to go away on me.
Yeah,
like just randomly, like everything else will heal like crazy, but a bruise now is like a long scar on your body.
It is really interesting to see the shift in my body as I get older. And I, when I was young, like my eyes were already bad. I already had a bad back. I was like, so I thought, oh, when I like, it won't matter. But no, there still is a marked difference from one decade to the next.
We're going to have such an old audience by the time we're done with our complaint.
And I would start talking about like my neck is hurting. I've tingled in my all right. Anyway, that was the light part of the show. Now let's
should we get serious?
Well, okay. So another great part is we want to thank our ever increasing list of members, our pup heroes and sheroes. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. We are so grateful to you. Unfortunately, because we all live in this capitalist hellscape, our starting to do this membership drive or whatever and like monetize on YouTube has actually increased our viewership like online by 100%. So like we've doubled just because of that. And of course that's what it is, because then that means that like YouTube will promote you because they can place an ad. And so I know it stinks if you're watching this on the playback, because it means that we're constantly being interrupted by ads. But I guess we're just players in the game, Pat.
We're just cogs in the wheel.
Yeah.
No, but it's true. Like the minute we went to monetizing or I guess monetizing, YouTube changes how they promote you. And I'm frozen. Look at that. It's beautiful.
You're frozen.
Oh,
we need to do the same thing with StreamYard.
But
we're not paying them enough.
Yeah, we should get on the horn with them again.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Anyway.
So please make sure to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. So that when we go on at random times, and I know we keep talking about it, but it is going to happen probably. I haven't even told Pat this. I'm going to spring it on him while he's frozen midstream, live stream. There's going to be a couple of Wednesdays we're going to have to figure out because of my baseball voice. So we'll talk about it.
We'll adapt.
All right. What do you think?
I think.
And now look, I'm looking back and you guys all making fun of me. I love it. Where are my pills?
Yes.
Not hitting 50, get my readers. Yeah, it's got to get my readers.
I mean, they're making fun of me equally. I'm older than you, believe it or not, right? Aren't I?
Let's do this off air because I don't know.
All right. Let's start with something positive before we run out of steam and we're just sitting on soapboxes talking about our kidneys and our
Yes, our ever keeping in mind the mission of the show, which is to provide some joy and inspiration and a sense of solidarity and community. We want to start with cheers to people who are doing a very difficult kind of protest and doing it pretty brilliantly. So let's take a watch.
That you have a very impressive resume during the 18 years that you spent working on the F-22 jets and the years since that you worked on the F-35. If you were to give an estimate, how many children do you think you've killed?
I don't even know how to answer that question, nor will I give it a shot.
Hey Ross, as a business major, company culture is a big factor when looking for internships, especially at a project manager position where you can spend most of your time working with others. What can you share about company culture and working with a team of genocide supporters and murderers?
That's another one I'm not going to answer because that's not who I work with.
And I'm just wondering, as let's say an intern working on, like as a systems engineer or software engineer, I don't know if you'll be able to speak on this, but would you be working on a small part of those systems? Are you working on projects with business impact? Like would I be kind of doing like a small little side project, or would I be able to directly contribute to the murder of Palestinian children?
Okay, good question.
sorry. I thought that the Lockheed Martin stuff came on at the beginning. The first video I had pulled, it did, and this was a little clearer, and it didn't. But I should have set that up. That was a representative from Lockheed Martin coming to speak to these kids at U Texas, right?
Yeah, no peace, bitch. That's the moral of that's the overriding theme of this episode. But that's what you got to do. Anytime you get an opportunity to question a villain, make a soundbite. Let's create a clip of him getting drilled.
Yeah. I mean, Lockheed Martin, like, pretty much it's funny when people say like, I never, I used to say this, I'm never going to shop at Walmart, right? Because we knew 30 years ago, how horrific they were. And then it was Amazon. Well, good luck. That's harder. Then it's Kroger's, Ralph's, Albertsons, Vons, Trader Joe's. It's like, God, you go down the list. Like, it is impossible.
Yeah. When Trader Joe's are the bad guys, like what is left? I mean, there's no local grocery concept really. I mean,
it's almost impossible. They've been shuttered. But so but Lockheed Martin especially has blood all over them every day of every year since they started. So drag those genocidal.
And kudos to whoever allowed them to keep this up. Like the professor in that room, that the students had enough acceptance to speak their minds. Like,
no, you're right. Because it was at my alma mater at Columbia where Hillary is giving her, diatribe about how, who are these pro-Palestinian protesters who are fine with the mass Hamas rape, right? Just like continuing all the lie propaganda. Meanwhile, her husband has been accused of more rapes than Hamas, but okay. And as soon at this, New York City, Ivy League, bastion of liberalism and all that, people speak out and they are right away removed from the class. So you're right. That was very cool that they allowed that to continue.
Yeah. And it was so dry. I loved it.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect.
All right, let's get on to the show itself.
Let's do it.
And we'll do a shot while we're doing this because that's what we do.
All right. Look at us.
So
what are we starting with? The worst of the week.
Worst of the week. Oh, we have a graphic for that too. This is a lot of graphics, like back to back.
We're graphic heavy. We're taxing the airwaves, hoping to crash them. Go
That's
ahead.
the plan. All right, who's the hero this week?
Our hero this week, your friend and mine, Senator from Pennsylvania.
And the president is going to win here in Pennsylvania. And I've always believed that whoever wins Pennsylvania is going to be the next president as well, too. And this is going to be, it's going to be difficult. And we all have to lean in on that. And we also have to start having, all kinds of Democrats criticizing the president, too, publicly. I don't understand why. I don't know what's in it for you to do that, whether you're just chasing clout or you want to make it in the news or anything like that. But if you're not willing to just support the president now and say these kinds of things, you might as well just get your MAGA hat because you now are helping Trump at this.
Yeah. We don't have a democracy. We coronate our leaders. I mean, I don't even know what they're pretending to protect, but how did he run as a progressive?
Yeah, they love toting him out with this message of your MAGA because he was sold to everybody as this true blue collar progressive leftist who was critical of the Biden administration. That's who he was. And now he's like, you guys are all MAGA if you don't.
He got that
criticize.
He got the AIPAC money. He donned an Israeli flag and does not want to hear any
Right.
voice any criticism in our democracy.
He is such a god awful piece of shit. Our only hesitance of naming him is that he probably does have some sort of issues health related that are like he got hit on the head a little bit, and that's
Well, didn't he have a stroke?
he did, but
Yeah. So, I mean, that can certainly be. So, yeah, I mean, maybe this is just not who he is, but he's just turned really awful. But more than that, it's just sort of emblematic of Democratic elite and how they treat anybody who voices any dissent, any criticism, has any issue, and they just say, well, it's that or Trump. You must support Trump. And, there've been so many great, like, little memes or posts about, I'm punching right. If you get hit, get out of the way. Like, I hate Republicans. I'm not criticizing Biden because I like Republicans. It's because he is a Republican. So this thing of equating anybody who criticizes Biden or Democrats as being MAGA is, I mean, it's so preposterous,
right.
but they keep rolling that out.
Yeah, and we are seeing more and more actual leftist stuff and opinions being voiced somewhat on CNN, and probably because they know they're going to have to get Biden out, but they always counter it that, like, look, they had him as the rational progressive up there, and 7 media. Why are those all news people up there? like there's nobody up there that doesn't have a media show. So it's like you're just filling the audience of people who agree with him because you're pushing that opinion. That's
right.
Ultimately.
Yeah. And there's so much more of that, which we will get to as we continue with this. But I don't even know what this one is, so I don't want to put it up here. Going into the primary in Michigan yesterday. Sorry, right. I don't know what that is up there, Pat, and I'm scared to put it in because I don't know what you're.
Oh, that's all right. My cat is screaming, and I'm not sure if you guys are hearing that, but
yeah, we are.
Cat out. So there's that.
It's good. Yeah. So yesterday was the Michigan primary. And it's really interesting because it started, if you all remember, with abandon Biden. That was what the Muslim American, Arab American community, primarily in Michigan, started with. Abandon Biden. Now it's vote uncommitted, which is a whole different tactic, honestly, right? Because you could vote for, well, I guess the only other person, no, actually, Marianne Williamson was still on the ballot, even though, well, at that point, she had dropped out. Now she has reemerged. But you could vote for another person. You could vote for whatever you want to say about Marianne Williamson or Dean Phillips, but with her, she at least is closer to a progressive. So if you are somebody who wants a ceasefire and wants to make your position known, why aren't you being told by the people, Rashida Tlaib and the mayor of Dearborn and the sort of heads of the Democratic anti-establishment over this issue, to vote for one of them? But instead it's vote uncommitted, which is a real tell for what's going to happen in a few months when we get to November.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it is significant. We're pushing the needle and waking people up a little bit with the uncommitted stuff. But at the same time, it's a pretty soft ask. Like, it's an uncontested primary. I could let this cat out, but why not, a no, or why not a yes on one of the other candidates? And we've already seen, what's his name? Let's see, hang on. So, okay, Waleed Shahid, who was one of Bernie's guys, and he was a big part of this push. Look at them doubling down. What happened in Michigan yesterday is what happened throughout American history. Arab Muslim Americans are anchoring themselves in the Democratic Party and making policy demands just like Black, Latino, Irish, Italian, Jewish Americans, and others before them. This is what democracy looked like. So that is telegraphing that we are not against the Democratic Party. We're going to change the party. So they're telegraphing that he's going to turn around, and whatever comes out of, 9 months from now, things will be different. There'll be peace or whatever you want to call it over there.
We're not.
But he'll be able to say, and a lot of people that are anchored in the Democratic Party will say, come out and vote for Joe.
Right. Well, because what's your choice? Trump? You think he wouldn't be committing genocide? That's all they had. What, you think Trump would be better? I don't know. We had 4 years of Trump. We did. And he didn't commit genocide. And we didn't have 2 wars. And I don't think he's better. I think he's horrible. I think he would be just as bad. But like that, I don't know. I like, where is your red line to just leave the party? Like nothing in the world would ever make me vote for Trump or actually any Republican. Like I just wouldn't. They are beyond retribution. They are a repellent group of people, never voting for any of them. When does that same thing, like, and liberals understand that. Like I say that and they're like, yeah. And then you're like, and Biden is basically George W. Bush. And they're like, no. Anyway, fucking disgusting.
Well, if genocide keeps you, why would you be anchored to the party of genocide? Why wouldn't you just say, we're open to leaving this party entirely? Like that's what should have came
energy behind. Yeah.
The follow-up tweet from one of the organizers of this event should have been, you saw what's happening. We're going to leave.
Abandon Biden. Remember that? Who changed that? I really need to know who changed that, because that was a shift. That was them co-opting this, which is also how you know that on some level this is being permitted by the powers that be. Even though I think it was shocking to see the results, which were Biden with 81%, great, but uncommitted with 100,000 votes, and that doesn't even include, there was about 20,000 each for Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson. So 140,000 in a primary, which is a low turnout, right? So what's going to happen in the general when I think Biden won by, I think around 140, 160. Like he needs every vote.
And he's in every single swing state. So like, I think the important thing is that this uncommitted push doesn't end in Michigan. Like if we're stuck with uncommitted, that's where we're at now. And we're going to have to roll with that language. Fine. But let's see it across every state. Let's see that number grow. Yeah. Let's see people realize we can't, like, even if you're a Democrat, if you want to win, those people that are hardcore anchored to the party people, they need to see that he's not going to win.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yeah. And I think this feels very clearly very clear that it's another way of just sheepdogging everybody back in November. It was interesting to see some of the headlines. I don't know how embarrassed he is. I don't know if there is some kind of alarm, but it's not good for him. There was a little panel yesterday with, on I think CNN, right, with Nina Turner. Oh, we didn't show the group of people that I love.
Yeah, let's show the voters.
Group.
Because
you
get PR from all these pundits, but sometimes they actually talk to voters and it doesn't go that well for them.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Is there a pathway forward for you with Biden?
Oh, absolutely not. You cannot keep killing people with our money and just keep thinking that, oh, we are stupid enough to elect you again, because we'll fall in line. We'll forget. This is an insult to me as a voter.
For you, Biden has a pathway forward.
Biden has a pathway forward. It's not.
And what does that look like?
That is him calling for a permanent and immediate ceasefire. The straightforward, simple answer for the Biden administration is push for a ceasefire, stop aiding Israel in their war crimes, and I guarantee you there are enough people who would be willing to deal with it and vote for the man. It is, in so many words, insane to me to have the Democratic Party and the Biden administration sit here and essentially say, if Trump happens, it's your fault.
If you don't want a Trump presidency, then Are you not worried about what he could do domestically to this country?
I am, it's like a vaccine. I'm willing to take short-term pain for a long-term gain. I'm willing to let go of Joe Biden and oppose Joe Biden, make him a one-term president, punish Joe Biden by making him a one-term president and pairing his loss with the genocide in Gaza.
Why does our democracy, why is having a Trump presidency more important than those people's lives?
Yeah.
Why is our democracy more important than thousands of men, women, and children being killed?
Yeah. I mean, I love that. It's interesting. The one person who said there is a pathway is a council member,
Right. But he called for a permanent, immediate ceasefire.
Right.
And you've got Biden out there
eating his ice cream,
eating his ice cream. But they leaked this, that the Biden administration is giving Israel until mid-March to sign a letter. So weeks from now, they'll sign a letter saying they're going to abide with international law
while using weapons. That's not a ceasefire. That's just saying, don't do war crimes while you use the weapons that we ship to you.
Yeah. We're going to give you 3 weeks to write us a letter promising you're not going to use do war crimes with our money.
I mean, if one bomb went off in our neighborhood, we would not stop talking about it for the rest of my life. If we saw one child blown to bits, catapulted against a crumbling wall with her legs shredded, we would hate whoever did that for the rest of our lives. So knowing that is happening every single day for these past 4 months, and that they're saying you've got a few more weeks to clean it up a little bit. I mean, every second that this continues is horrific.
Yeah. Do you want to show the video of Bassem Youssef?
Yeah. Well, are we there? Are we going to end this?
Are we ending the segment? No, I didn't want to end the segment yet. No, we'll close on his words, because his words fit how a lot of.
He doesn't remember this, but like an hour and a half ago, Pat and I talked about that we were going to end this segment with Bassem Youssef.
I don't have a flow chart for this show. I sort of have a list. This is a rare day. I have a list in front of me.
I know. Well, look and see where it says that video goes, Pat. Did you write that down?
Okay.
The other thing, just before we move on to other, like the poll stuff of Biden and everything for 2024, is the other indication that this is all just some ploy is Beto O'Rourke, who's peddling some book now, also coming out on the side of this, vote uncommitted. But he brings in the example of Martin Luther King Jr. going to President Johnson, and Johnson saying, I need more agitation from the outside to make me be able to fight to do the right thing. I need you guys to do that. And so Beto O'Rourke's whole idea here that he's putting forward is like, this is how, well, here, I'll just show it to you. He'll say it better. When Martin Luther King Jr. and Andrew Young first approached President Lyndon B. Johnson about passing the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the president told them he didn't have the political power to get it passed. King and Young spent the weeks and months that followed organizing to get Johnson that mandate. It culminates in John Lewis leading that march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in March of 1965, almost being beaten to death in the process and really galvanizing the conscience of the country. Within 8 days, Johnson convenes a joint session of Congress and by the summer has passed and signed into law the Voting Rights Act of 1965, O'Rourke said. Here we go. I know that Joe Biden is a good man. I know he wants to do the right thing. Sometimes political pressure helps a president get there, and that may be what's needed now. So,
look, that could be true on other issues, but we're blocking the UN humanitarian aid. We can't continue with this. He's a good man. You have to say this is wrong. You're either evil or a good person. And right now, Joe Biden, you are evil. This is evil. This is not right. Stop immediately.
Yeah. I mean,
look at where the public is right now on Joe Biden.
Winning. Do you approve of his handling of this job as president? That is, let me get my readers. Audrey and I need readers. 59% disapprove. The situation in Ukraine, 53% disapprove. The economy, 61% disapproves. Foreign affairs, 62% disapproves. The situation in the Middle East between the Israelis and Palestinians, 62% disapprove. Immigration, 67% disapproves. This is not good news for him.
So he's losing on literally every metric I've ever seen pulled up. Like, you know, you
Everything.
could probably poll who's the most racist of the two now. And Trump might be considered less racist than Joe Biden right now. I mean, I'd be curious about that one myself.
Black voters are moving over to him. So are Latino voters, young voters. New poll conducted in Michigan by Howard University shows President Biden's support among Black voters has dropped to 49% from 94%. So it's almost halved in 2020, while Trump's support has risen to 26%, 3 times what it was in 2020. I mean, the crazy thing is, first of all, you know, that's insane. He can't win without Black voters. And can't win without the swing states. So I don't know what their big plan is, but they're going after the Lincoln Project, guys. That's it. We are the Lincoln Project now. That is their whole base. Liz Cheney and Bill Kristof. They got 2.
I mean, but if I hear some more about how Biden's a good guy,
he's so virile.
Key to his good marriage is his marriage is good sex.
Oh, how
I don't know. I almost uploaded it, but it was too long. But there's a whole TikTok thing about how you guys met, cute NYC or cute met or something, where they interview couples and they act like it's organic and
right.
And it's a fluff interview, but it's like a minute and a half of basically that tweet, almost like great sex is the key to a good marriage.
I mean, great, sure, it is. He can't walk off a stage without falling over. So I don't know whom he's trying to impress, but also like, here is this person also, let's just remember, has 8 sexual assault or harassment charges against him, 1 rape charge, and is a well-known sex pest. Like in books from before he was, you know, the person who everybody coalesced around in the Democratic primary. The CIA agents or Secret Service agents who followed him, the female ones requested not to be left alone with him because he would skinny dip in front of them and make them feel uncomfortable. I mean, shut up about your sex life. Like, you are the leader of the free world. You are a genocidal pig. Nobody wants to hear about your stupid sex life.
Right. And let's talk about some of the things he could be talking about, you know. He thinks he's going to motivate voters who oppose pot prohibition. What about, like, in 2020, he ran on decriminalizing marijuana, getting people out of prisons. So we're not even there. It's going to get worse. Like, we're going to stop pot prohibition. We're going to stop abortion being banned nationwide. We're going to stop all the things that got exponentially worse under my presidency.
Right.
That's my pledge to you. Yeah.
We're not going to enshrine any rights for you, but we will veto it if Congress passes a national abortion ban. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But here's the problem. And The Nation had a great article on it. He promised to restore Roe if reelected. Okay. He promised to codify Roe the first time around. But how are you going to restore Roe this time around if you're not going to expand the Supreme Court and you're not going to expand you're not going to get rid of the filibuster? Like, he has no explanation for his pathway to get this done.
No.
And yet it's the strongest issue he has for voters. I mean, that he's a tangible issue that people are going to go, well, the lesser evil, abortion, right? So that's his one trump card per se. But how? He can't explain how. Yeah.
Mostly he's just going to veto. When Congress passes a nationwide ban, he'll veto it. Yeah. I mean, I have a hard time because Ellie Mystel just got in this whole thing with Brianna Joy Gray, like saying that she's privileged or something for saying that she's not going to vote for Biden no matter what, and think about LGBTQ issues and the the Muslim ban, or I mean, like he always just toes the party line also.
The Muslim ban? Biden
Oh.
considers using the same authority as Trump for the sweeping Muslim ban.
Awesome. It is every individual's right to apply for asylum. I mean, I remember flying into the airport, and it was on the day that Trump started the Muslim ban, and it was packed. People flooded the airport. Human rights lawyers getting there to try to stage protests, to help anybody who needed help. And now it's like, I don't hear anybody talking about it.
And if you hear Democrats talking about it, it's that they made a mistake by ceding this realm to Republicans. Like it's been silly that Democrats, we should have always been fighting for tougher immigration. And like, what? This is literally your message now in 2024. You lost your base. The genocide is going on. You lost abortion rights. And now you're leaning into being Republican.
Yeah.
Like none of those rights were lost because the public changed their opinion on it.
Right.
They were lost because you failed to support the public and were feckless and owned by your corporate donors who were more interested in corporate profits than they were any of this other shit.
Yeah. I mean, they really are just battling over the Lincoln Project Club. That's it. It's just that segment of conservative, upper middle class, wealthy white people who could really go either way, because as soon as Liz Cheney or Mitt Romney gets into the mix, even fucking George W. Bush, like it is so repugnant, and they will never, ever do anything for their base because that's not what their donors want.
Yeah. Well, we've got a new vote blue no matter who strategy out there. I don't know if you've seen this group yet. Red State Dems.
That's gross. Red State
Imagine
Dems.
if Frodo was all Sauron's bad, but Gandalf's done some morally gray stuff too. So I'll stay home. Don't get eaten by orcs. Vote.
Morally gray stuff is a genocide. Like, listen, again, I despise Trump, but when we are comparing morally gray stuff, what did Trump do during his term as president that was worse than a genocide? I just don't understand how anyone can make that case.
You're not going to get there.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no way.
You need a positive message of some vision for the country, and it's not there with Biden at all. Even if they were equally evil on both sides, our base is not going to be motivated by the lack of progress on anything. In fact, our base sees entirely, it's right in front of them. Our party, X party for a lot of us, is now pushing for blocking Muslims from entering the country.
More money to cops.
All this stuff.
Border bill.
That's why one of the biggest changes in demographics is Black voters giving up on Joe Biden, because they were the base, and they're disappointed as all fucking hell.
Yeah, which is also interesting with that Waleed Shahid quotation. Like, I mean, yes, Black voters have been asking for things, but I mean, I guess what you're going to look back to the Voting Rights Act back in '65. I mean, great, but like, what have you done for me lately? Really?
People talk about Newsom by all means is the obvious replacement should they swap him out at the convention. And did you see him on this lately? So California's new $20 minimum wage rule, it's going to exempt restaurants that sell bread.
Why are they carving that out, Pat?
Well, it turns out that Newsom and Panera are buddies. So
I mean,
carve out for bread. Like, why should you? What's the logical explanation for places that serve bread?
It doesn't take a skilled worker to hand a person a loaf of bread. I don't know. It's ridiculous. And now, of course, if that's a carve out, everyone's going to be like, here, you want to just buy the bun from McDonald's instead of like.
Oh, we do. What's your business about? Well, we do tech support and we sell bread.
Yeah.
We sell bread. So you can work here for $12 an hour. And you could be 16 years old working 50-hour weeks now because Biden compromised because, right to work, labor laws, and the Republicans really wanted it. So we just compromised on it.
Yeah. And you can be you can be scheduled to work a shift after 11, which used to be prohibited. Not in every state, but that is starting to sweep the states. At least with the Lord of the Rings, they're moving on from Harry Potter, huh? It's getting a little more intricate. Their parables or whatever those are.
I couldn't even follow that Lord of the Rings crap, but I don't know.
I mean, I have to say I'm one of the few people who hasn't read that book or those books, but I know people love them, but I don't know, comparing anybody to Biden and Trump should make your evaluation of the book or the comparison tainted. But they're bringing it back.
That video?
Yeah. What, can we show it? Is that what you said? Yeah, we should show it because we should move on. But I just wanted to say really quickly, because this happened quite a bit ago and we have amazing. Thank you so much, Daniel. Super sticker, $49.99. You out of your mind? Thank you. That is amazing.
Thank you.
Hero. And Reflect the Sun, 20 more Punch Up Pod memberships. Thank you. You guys are awesome. We so appreciate it. Thank you. As we are sitting here spewing anger and frustration, you guys are warming our hearts. So thank you.
I wish I could transfer that money somehow directly to getting these tech problems fixed on this website.
Oh, I know.
We're trying. We are trying our ass off. We get together and have meetings and do sample,
like just take stuff out of it and put it back in. And just really quickly before we go to Bassem Youssef. Yes. Thank you both. You guys are amazing. They're coming back with it. Russiagate. Russia's 2024 election interference has already begun. And this is hilarious because what they're forgetting is just a few days ago, Putin says that he would rather have Biden than Trump for president. So,
which is reverse chess, according to the Trump.
4D.
It's like, oh, he's doing some high level stuff here.
Yeah. What a mess. All right. So this is just a nice way of going out with somebody who is all in on the abandoned Biden.
From the river to the sea are not really Islamic, and many of them don't even agree with Hamas. The river to the sea is a Palestinian chant, it's not an Islamic chant. That's number one. Number two, from the river to the sea is not coined by the Palestinians, it's coined by the Israelis. It's in the Likud party chart in 1977. They say from the sea to the Jordan, there are only going to be Israeli sovereignty. So they coined the thing before that. Second of all, when I criticize Israel, I criticize it because it's in a position of power. I'm absolutely no fan of Hamas. And from my history in Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood doesn't like me, and I don't like them either. I am against a theocracy, and I'm against religion being in politics. And that's why I find it very hypocritical from Israel saying that we are a secular, democratic state, and at the same time, just like we are a Jewish state. What are you? Are you a theocracy or a democracy? Are you something like for the secular for everybody, or you just like or exclusively for the Jews? And so that's why is it like when the West talks about everything, it's liberal, secular, democratic. Only when it comes to Israel, it's biblical. Why? That's the problem. Try to convince me that Israeli have more right in this land, more than Palestinian, without using religion. They can't. Because it's even that the liberal Zionists, they're all about, we're atheists, we don't believe in God. But it is God gave them to their promised people, promised land, promised by whom? Chosen people, chosen by whom? The God, my God, your God, whose God? As an American, how do I feel when an American representative wears the uniform of the IDF? When my politicians that I vote to receive their money from special interest group, whether they're AIPAC or NRA. So suddenly my votes are gone to waste. So now people, and the Democrats are blackmailing us. It's like, if you don't vote for Biden, Trump will come. So what has Biden done to us? And I actually coined a new name for Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Geriatric Genocide Biden. The guy is not even like good enough to be a genocide guy. He's geriatric. He's dementic. And I want him to go back down in history, losing this for people, because people need to understand that you cannot. Yes,
as a significant voice in the Arab American community, you're telling me you want Joe Biden to lose.
I want him to lose. I don't care about Trump winning, but I want Joe Biden to win, because this guy, he's one of all we ask for him is ceasefire. Stop the killing. Stop the killing. How difficult is this? And then you try to blackmail us with reproductive rights and minority rights. And I said yesterday, if a woman, I hope that will never happen, if a woman loses her reproductive rights in Tennessee, she can go to California and get an abortion. If a woman in Gaza, she does have nowhere to go. So you are basically killing that. You're clocking people in, and you're allowing the Israel, who's been a burden on American politics, a burden of American economy, a burden of economy of American best interests in the country.
And it doesn't bother you that Donald Trump, if he were watching this interview, would think, that's fantastic. I've got people like Bassem Youssef saying that he wants Joe Biden to lose the election.
I'm not going to be blackmailed into saying that I'm going to be enable Trump to win. The Democrats did that to themselves. And they cannot continue pretending that they are on our side, and then they need our votes during the election, and then for the next 4 years, they screw us up and they kill our people back in the Middle East. So I'm not going to be blackmailed into that. Whatever happens, like it's weird. I've been only a citizen for 4 years. I was so happy that I voted for Bernie Sanders, by the way.
All right.
You know, and then I voted for Biden because I'm blue no matter who. And then I find this. So you know what? America took 4 years in order for me to make me check out of elections. So good job, good job, good job, Biden.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. Yeah, good for him. I won't be blackmailed. 100%. And that was exactly what the whole abandon Biden thing was supposed to be.
And he brings up a good point. Like, look, punishing the party behind a genocide, you should not feel bad about that. I mean, imagine history looking back on you and I, if we were in Nazi Germany and we voted for Hitler's second term. Like, we are all complicit if we vote for Joe Biden.
That's right.
And history will look at it that way too.
100%. Yes. Yeah. There is no other way to look at it. The whole world looks at it that way. The only people who don't are the US and Israel. That's it. All right. We need to spin the wheel. We need a little joy, a little more joy.
We do.
Right?
Yeah, I was thinking we do have that where's the Italian video?
Oh, that's a good one. Let's all right, I'm calling an audible.
All right.
All right, do you just want to do that video?
Yeah, we'll do the shot and show this is how the world sees Joe Biden, other than the genocide part, because it's not really part of this. Cheers.
Cheers.
Buonasera, Presidente Biden. Oh, Presidente Biden. President, Mr. President. It's okay? Are you okay, President? It's okay. Ok, tutto a posto. Welcome, benvenuto. No, di nuovo, mamma mia. President, Mr. President, ecco. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, very good.
Si sente bene,
Yeah.
sì.
Thank you.
Thank you, mamma mia.
Thank you very much. Feel good.
You are welcome. Buonasera. Dove va? Mr. President. Oh, mamma. No, non arriva la metropolitana perché non è la metro. It's not the subway. Non è la metropolitana qui. No.
What's your name?
Con chi parla? Mr. President.
My name is Joe Kennedy.
No, Biden. Lei è Biden. È Biden. Ma con chi parla? Certo, prego. Ecco, se riesce. If you can. No. Sta girando su. No, Mr. President, not turn. No, you have to.
Oh, my name is Joe
ma l'ha
Kennedy.
l'ha già salutato. Lasci stare.
Oh my God. There's actually another one that went on for like 5 minutes, but yeah.
There's a whole bunch of them, but the world is laughing at us and crying with genocide in Palestine. And it's just, we've lost our place in the world. All right, that's enough of that. Let's spin the wheel, even though we just did a timeline cleanse-ish thing.
Yeah, baby.
Look at how lucky we are. Look at that.
Look at that.
All right.
Sometimes things work out.
Sometimes things always work out for the best. Cheers.
Yeah, baby.
Oh God, come on. No way, really? Oh Jesus. Okay. Just give me a second.
You and your audible.
I never should have done the audible. That was my mistake. I should have had more faith.
All right. I'm just going to pour myself a double since I normally do half shots, but
Oh God, I'm waiting for you. I'm trying to get the taste out of my mouth. That's what
cheers.
she said. Ah, okay.
Oh, you lobbed that up for me too. But I wouldn't go there. Come on.
I tried.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, baby.
All right, let's get
All right.
Oh,
look at that.
Look at that. It's going to
Look
be
at that.
adorable.
Let's see.
Let's see. Do the first one. Let's do the first one.
All right. Are you doing it or am I?
Oh,
I'll do
I'm
it.
doing it. I got it.
That's good. You need to teach Strike how to, get her own food and fix a light bulb, not pee on you from the tree. Uh-oh. Are you frozen? Oh, no, you're okay. You're good.
Ish,
Ish,
yeah. Was that wholesome enough? That was the wholesomest I could
wholesome.
get.
That was very good. I liked it.
right.
I liked it a lot. All right, moving on. Oh God, we're moving right into
What do we got?
Israel, right?
Israel.
Right
It feels like we
Israel.
covered Israel, but no, we did not cover Israel.
We
Did we?
all covered the.
Dabbled.
If you only think of Israel in terms of electoral politics, that's the portion. That's how Biden and the Dems are thinking about it. But we are going to move in. This is what Biden said on. Was it Seth Meyers, which I find horrifying.
Yeah.
I think it's horrifying.
I get criticized for having said a long time ago, you need not be a Jew to be a Zionist. I'm a Zionist. Were there no Israel, there's not a Jew in the world to be safe.
That's news to 8 million Jews who are U.S. citizens. What a crazy thing to say. First of all, not true, right? Second, he's the leader of this country. What is going on?
Well, what's going on is a genocide, but the idea that Israelis are now safer is crazy. The idea that anyone in America that's Jewish is safer is crazy. I mean, I'm not suggesting anyone do anything to them, but the most radical people on earth now have something they can throw in their bag of hate as clear evidence of wrongdoing by a government, but they will obviously conflate that with Jewish people because they're awful people themselves.
And also the leaders of Israel say that all Jews are Zionists. And if you're not a Zionist, you're not a real Jew. So they are complicit in making the people whom they are dominating hate all Jews and not just the ones who are part of a Zionist project, right? Like, yes, you're right. But like, it's all part and parcel of that hate. Anyway, I think this is the second time he said that in the last couple of weeks, that without Israel, Jews wouldn't be safe. I mean, first of all, Jews weren't safe on October 7th, for sure. That's more than, yes, horrible acts of anti-Semitism happen here, happen across the world. Horrible acts of racism, bigotry happen in lots of places. But to say that you aren't safe if Israel doesn't exist is just insanity. Yeah.
I mean, the reason he comes out and says that is that you need something to justify this. And this is a short little video of what's happened in Gaza.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse, and no one is listening to us, which brings us to, one of the more horrific moments of this past week on American soil, obviously not in Gaza, was the self-immolation of active military, I think Air Force, Aaron Bushnell, who self-immolated in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. Okay, so this is him on the left, and this was his last post. Many of us like to ask ourselves, what would I do if I was alive during slavery or the Jim Crow South or apartheid? What would I do if my country was committing genocide? The answer is you're doing it right now.
Yeah, what to say about this? I mean, obviously no one suggests suicide, and the legacy media immediately came out with a lot of suicide stories, a lot of mental illness stories. It's what they do it every time. It's the same thing with the guy who self-immolated over the climate change to get some attention on it. I mean, these are the ultimate sacrifices people passionate about the causes have made, and nobody's saying go out and do it, but respect that that's what it was for.
Yeah.
And we've got all kinds of stories about why he did it.
Without actually saying why he did it. A man set himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, the police said. U.S. airman sets himself on fire outside Israeli embassy. Sets himself on fire. Nothing. Not saying the reason. Not talking about Gaza. Not talking about Israel. Not talking about genocide, even though his last words were free Palestine. There was an article in Time magazine where they basically are saying it's against the rules. Defense Department policy states that service members on active duty should not engage in partisan political activity. So it's against the rules.
He's been a bad military agent.
This is how Mossad dealt with it. Our enemies kill themselves. Thanks for showing up, Mossad. Here's their next one. U.S. Air Force soldier lights himself on fire to protest Israel. What an idiot. Just as to show the juxtaposition. So that is how most of U.S. media, legacy media, covered his self-immolation. When it was a dissident in Russia who self-immolated, I think the last year, this is how it was written about. Russian journalist sets herself on fire and dies, blaming the government. They don't talk about how she is mentally incompetent. They don't say what she did was against the rules. They very clearly set up that she was a critic of the Kremlin and that she blamed them. I ask you to blame the Russian Federation for my death, they quote her as saying from her Facebook. Somehow that was missing on all of those articles by the Washington Post and Time and I don't know. Pat, did you freeze? Oh, you did. You froze.
Apparently I'm frozen. Strike did it. Strike did it.
I do think, should we show this CNN clip since there's one good piece? Should we give them their props?
Yeah. So this was actually a shock to most of the world that CNN actually gave some honest coverage to this incident. Probably after a lot of backlash, after hours and hours of bullshit about it.
And also, I don't know if this was one of their primetime shows because I don't watch CNN, but I didn't fully recognize.
This clip, I think we can end the discussion on this part of Israel with this clip because it's pretty powerful, I thought.
We're learning new details today about a deadly protest outside the Israeli embassy in Washington. Authorities identified Aaron Bushnell as the person who, on Sunday, set himself on fire. The 25-year-old was an active duty member of the U.S. Air Force. CNN's Gabe Cohen joins us now with the details. And Gabe, this is something that he did in protest.
Yeah, that's correct. And we're learning much more about this 25-year-old active duty airman, Aaron Bushnell, as you mentioned. He's from San Antonio, Texas, and he live streamed his actions on Sunday in broad daylight on the streets of D.C. outside the Israeli embassy. We are not going to show that video. It is extremely graphic and disturbing. I have watched the video. I can tell you at the beginning, at the start of it, you can see Bushnell walking up to the embassy on the street in his military fatigues. He's speaking calmly to the camera. I want to read a portion of what he says. He said, quote, "I will no longer be complicit in genocide. I am about to engage in an extreme act of protest, but compared to what people have been experiencing in Palestine at the hands of their colonizers, it is not extreme at all. This is what our ruling class has decided will be normal." He then goes on to pour some sort of accelerant, it looks like, on his head out of a water bottle he was carrying. And then he lights himself on fire, Boris. And as the flames engulf him, you can hear him yelling, free Palestine, again and again, until finally he collapses. And that is when officers, you can see them race in, one of them with a fire extinguisher in their hands, trying to put out the flames. But it takes time. And as we have learned, Bushnell died in the hospital at some point later on. And look, it really speaks to the tensions that are continuing to escalate around the war in Gaza, not just across the world, but here in the United States. We saw a similar incident in December when someone self-immolated, lit themselves on fire outside of the Israeli consulate in Atlanta. But this feels different. This is an active duty member of the military burning himself to death on the streets of the nation's capital.
Gabe Cohen, thanks so much for the details. Appreciate it.
Pretty amazing also that reporter also mentioned that this was the second case of self-immolation. Right. The first one, I think the person is still in intensive care. We don't,
right,
and
they
I
survived.
Possibly a woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard, but we didn't hear any. I mean, I heard nothing about it until this happened with Bushnell. So, you know, rare moment of real reporting from CNN. I guess let's give them props when they deserve it.
That's painful, but yeah.
Yeah. And sorry about that. Was a weird, I don't know why the audio wasn't matched up to the video, but that's technology. All right. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot we could cover on Israel. I don't know that any of it is going to be more powerful than that. I kind of feel like we should leave it on him today.
I think that's probably right. I just want to say that if we were seeing Hamas parade around all the war crimes that the IDF soldiers are, showing the people they've slaughtered and stolen their homes, their underwear, their shoes. This one guy, I mean, it was so much like Nazis in Germany, showing the shoes that he took, that he said, I'm going to give this to my fiance. Yeah. Sleeping, like pretending to sleep in a baby's crib. It is just so vile. It's so vile.
If there was even one clip of that, it would be on front and center from Israel.
Constantly. I mean, just look at about the rape charges, right? And the amount of media attention given to an ex-IDF soldier, liar propagandist who just regurgitated her previous, she's not even a reporter. The first byline she ever had was, I think, in that October, November piece, or December, the rape, the silent witness, whatever, that was debunked because she relied on people who lied, Zaka, and another woman who so Zaka, almost all of their lies have been debunked, the beheaded babies and all that. Then the woman we showed last week who said, I was just emotional and I believe that there were 67 different specimens of semen in one woman. And also then cites Zaka, just regurgitates all of that for another byline in a different, right. That got tons of publicity, but not the UN coming out and saying that they have substantiated evidence of IDF soldiers raping and assaulting Palestinian prisoners.
Right. And I mean, the rape charge, the beheaded baby stuff, the New York Times article that we're discussing here, it's the yellow cake uranium. But the difference is we knew immediately that it was bullshit. I mean, a lot of this was debunked like a week or so after it, and now it's unquestionable that all these accusations lobbed, largely are false and fabricated.
Yep.
And so the difference between the Iraq war is it took a long time to unpack the disinformation. And now we're living in a time when a week later, we know it's bullshit. And the public is looking at our politicians and the media lying to us. Yep. And so what do we do with that? Well, now you've got more people angry than ever with no outlet. We're protesting across the entire fucking world and nothing is changing. And that's all falling on Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. And to prop them up and vote for them in the face of this is just unconscionable to me.
Yeah. I mean, and to clearly not, they are signaling with this uncommitted that they're not abandoning him. I mean, that's the whole point of it. Unconscionable. Absolutely.
Right. I mean, on one hand, look, they're trying to give an off ramp to get some change, like waving out our vote. Like we could still vote for you if you do something about it. But that's not the effect. If you just look at how the Democratic Party has operated, we're not going to get a change. You need to force it.
They've said it out loud. They're saying listen, I know it's too bad, but by November, they're going to know it's a binary choice. It's either Trump or Biden, who you're going to vote for. We know they'll come back. I mean, they are saying those words out loud.
Believe them.
Hey, Oz, good to see you. And thank you. That is so incredibly kind. Thank you so much. Oz the Boomer.
Cheers.
Awesome. Cheers, buddy. All right.
Yeah, I think we should move on, but it's a weird transition, but that's why we have the timeline cleanses.
That's why we have, let's spin that wheel.
To get us into something, to keep a little levity here.
Yeah, baby.
And to drink a lot of shots.
My face is so red again. Oh my God. I need to get away from the lights. All right, here's the shot. And then we got to still see if there's something good happening. Some fun bit.
Spinning.
Yeah, baby.
Spinning and drinking.
Cheers.
Like college. Oh, we got a timeline.
Blah. Thank you. Good. We need it.
All right. What do we got?
News
Let's see.
Or comedian?
Let's do the comedian.
All right.
I kind of want to vote, I kind of do, but like I said, I don't even do research. I just go off of vibes. And I don't like the vibes that Trump and Biden give me. I don't like their vibes at all, man. They make me feel like America is this one big party, right? We're all at this house party. And then somebody at that party was like, okay, I'm gonna introduce y'all to these two guys. And one guy is like the guy who he gets so drunk, he just says whatever's on the top of his mind. And occasionally it's some racist shit. Trump. And the other guy they brought out is the guy who, he's so high, but he tries his best to convince you he's not high. But the more he talks, the more you're like, dude, you are stoned. They brought out these two guys, and they're basically like, all right, one of these two has to drive you home. That's why I don't want to vote. I'm like, I just walk.
He was great. Who is that?
I did not write down his name.
Nope.
Don't help me out.
No, we'll find out. No, but I like that. I know they keep saying the thing about if you have to eat, you have to eat one of these two shitty sandwiches. One's going to give you food poisoning, and the other one tastes like crap. So you got to, no, you go hungry, or you become a
Right.
vegetarian or something like.
And if you're going to poison me with both options, I'm not picking which one is going to poison me.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand up and say, you know what? I'm not going to eat your food.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
And to act like there's no choice about it is also so insane. Like there's no way that Biden and his administration could possibly respond to what most of the country wants. It's out of their control. All right, I know. We're moving on. We're moving on to another
Out of control. And don't forget that Biden refused to speak at the Super Bowl. Like if you're stopping fascism, you had the biggest media opportunity in the world to fight for your party, and you're not even going to take it.
Yep. He can't. They have to hide him because he can't even, well, you know, what do you say that Sisi was the president of Mexico? And I don't know if you saw, but AMLO just said that the New York Times is a filthy rag and that it's basically like Goebbels, and that you just, if they keep repeating a lie enough and like that they're just working for the hegemony of the US. So yeah, I just had to throw that in there because we didn't even talk about that, which I thought was amazing. But okay, we are moving on to something light and fun.
Good old COVID. Post-pandemic year 5. Is it 5 years? 5 years.
This is our 5th year right now.
Shit.
New deaths, 1,569. So every 2 weeks we're having another 9/11, and we're doing nothing about it at all.
Nothing.
Not a thing.
And we just, here's the thing. We can't pretend we're in this, we don't know the outcome of it phase. We don't know the final outcome. But what we know is that it's doing awful things to everybody who gets it over time. I mean, not every single person, but most people are getting brain damage. Like, it's crossed
Cognitive
the blood-brain
impairment.
barrier. You know, the only other major disease that I know of is AIDS that crosses the blood-brain barrier.
Yep.
And that's why, you know, memory, we're
Brain
all
fog.
likely to get Alzheimer's. Like that's the most likely outcome for the 20-year trajectory of people who had COVID a bunch of times. Because the brain damage, they know the location in your brain. And the reason people with the first or second rounds of COVID were losing their sense of smell and memory are really close to each other in the brain where the brain damage is happening. And it's shrinking brains, an estimate of like 0.5% to 10%. I mean, we're talking, I mean, not 10%, excuse me, 10 years. The effects of COVID is at the extreme end. They're thinking 10 years of brain damage, 10 years of shrinkage of your brain.
Yeah. I thought, wait, sorry. Cause I thought it was like, 20 years. Sorry. I'm going to correct you, but
I was just making up the number. You know,
I felt like that as you started talking percentages, I was like, all right, I'm going to bring out an actual, cognitive deficits equivalent to brain aging by 20 years. So imagine us all. I think it was the Runs who put something up, but now I can't scroll back fast enough. But somebody's saying that Biden walking around at the end of every speech, a comedian is like he turns into a Roomba, which is very funny. But like we're all like that's where we're all headed. Cognitive deficits. Biden just wants us. He's making us all in his image.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a million things happening, but they're pretending that none of this is actually COVID related. Is the spin? It's just like we're baffled. We don't know.
Frightening rise of another deadly disease. I will say that another possible explanation or something that is contributing to this is the rise of vaping. I've also read, but certainly the fact that COVID is dysregulating all of our immune systems is giving fertile ground for the rise of cancer and
It's not just pancreatic cancer, 134,000 undiagnosed cancers during the height of the pandemic. You got superbug going around now. And what a lot of these things are is look, your immune system takes a massive hit with COVID. And it's not just to clear out COVID. It's because you got COVID, your immune system is now weak until it can recover, if it can recover. And for a lot of people, it can't.
Right. Yeah. So we included this, because this is what they tell you for the superbug. which is, you know, basically they're saying it's like food poisoning. And they're telling you, if you're sick, stay home, isolate for at least 2 days, not like COVID. COVID's 1 day. Isolate for at least 2 days. Do not prepare food or care for others when you're sick. Clean and disinfect contaminated surfaces. Fine. I mean, that they keep telling us to do with everything. Wash your hands is how we solve COVID. But they're telling you to stay home for 2 days. Great. I mean, yes, of course, stay home. But like with COVID, it's 1 day.
The fact that COVID became less stay-at-home time than the flu used to be,
or a stomach bug.
It's nuts. And we got all these reports about puzzling. Wow, a spike in heart disease since
Must
COVID.
be the vaccination.
it's literally a spike since COVID, but it's puzzling scientists.
Cannot explain it.
And Julie Marie, great. She was on a show, friend of the show.
Yes.
Look, scientists have been calling this out the entire time. And you get articles coming out now saying, oh, we're just learning. No, for 5 years, there have been articles about all these relationships.
Connection. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's nothing mysterious about it at all. And as this is spiking, as we are still having, 1,500 deaths, tens of thousands of actual infections, which are going to lead to long COVID, they are now shrinking the CDC government's website.
Shrinking it of at least 64% of content. And this is our CDC. And the WHO has been pretty bad on the pandemic too, but even they are out there saying we're still in a pandemic. And this was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. This is something that I used to always think it was just a Republican approach to defund the government and to sort of force public disintegration of trust in any government agency,
Yeah,
right?
Government can't help you.
Yeah.
We shouldn't spend money on
Yeah.
social programs.
Yeah, so you discredit it. You throw the chaos of the Koch brothers in by having morons repeat anti-vax nonsense and masks don't work, with their dark right-wing money. And so then you get to defund it and then you shrink it and then you say, see, government doesn't work.
Right. And you do all that by sprinkling libertarian money around a lot of big shows, Jimmy Dore and others. And you get the left to abandon the issue, which is what has happened. The left has completely ceded this issue to the right, and the vacuum is there for all this bull.
Oh my God, the censors just struck us. They froze you as you're talking. I can't tell if you're frozen or if you're just having a slow thought. It's your cognitive impairment. I shouldn't even joke about it. Yes, they're doing a ton of damage. I don't see any. Okay, you're still, even the people I love, like even citations needed, like they don't talk about it. And, if anything, like, because their whole deal is like talking about media and framing of different issues. Every single issue we talk about here, whether it's Israel or elections or COVID or whatever, we talk about the dishonest corporate media. So for them to avoid this one subject is incredibly disappointing. I think they at one point had the death panel hosts on, but like, this is an ongoing pandemic that is destroying people's lives. It is a labor issue. It's a racial justice issue. It is a media issue. It's a capitalist issue. Like it's everything. So it's very frustrating to see that people aren't taking it seriously. The people who are taking it seriously, though, is the Davos safe crowd, is the wealthiest amongst us. Adele, whose stay at Caesar's Palace was joined by a $474,000 state-of-the-art air filtration system to help protect her voice, not the crowd.
Right. And coincidentally, even that protection, she's stopping her tour short. She just announced, I think yesterday, last 10
she's canceling the last
or
10
so shows are
because
done
she's sick,
because she can't recover. She's sick.
But I don't know, maybe if they had thought, instead of only protecting, it's like it's like a no smoking section in a plane, like what is she thinking that she can be in a packed arena and only protect herself? I don't know how much money that what's it called? It's not a residency, but whatever, her gig in Vegas
gig
is bringing in. But probably they could have outfitted that whole stadium or arena or whatever it is with a state-of-the-art filtration system, and tell everybody that actually also. So you're not pretending that everything's back to normal while you know it's not, because you're protecting yourself. Here's another person doing the same thing. Taylor Swift. Why Taylor Swift won't meet with Aussie fans while down under. She could risk millions of dollars if she were to fall sick. Well, I'm glad she's protecting herself. And Dr. Lucky Tran says, many in the entertainment industry understand that COVID is not over and take many precautions because getting sick themselves would cost them a lot of money. Yet they promote an image that acts like COVID is over to their followers because they profit from it. Here are some of her protections. When Taylor is on tour, strict measures are put into place to stop her interacting with anyone outside of her bubble. They cannot risk her getting sick under any circumstances. Even those in her bubble, including her dancers and managers, are restricted what they can do and where they can go during their downtime. Going on a world tour may sound exciting, but the reality of it is each day just consists of going from a hotel room to the venue and repeat. At Taylor's first show in the Melbourne Cricket Ground on Friday, her publicist was even walking through the venue, can you imagine, wearing a mask to reduce her chance of catching any illnesses. I mean, it is so repugnant that they pretend that everything's back up and normal, because they have the power and the money to insist on some change.
For them to know the risks to her and their income stream, they have to know the risk to the audience in front of them. And they're killing people. And with her platform, like, they're putting out, the Swifties are praising her, the people that like her are praising her, that they released this information, that she's taking it serious behind the scenes. But what's the net benefit of her doing that and ignoring it versus her saying one thing to her audience of like, hey, I think you guys should be masked. Like, come if you don't want a mask, but you guys should be wearing a mask. COVID's serious. Yeah. Like imagine a show where there were 40,000 people masked up, and what an image that would be, and how that would change generation, the seriousness that kids took this.
That's right. Or insist on your stadium, arena, whatever, concert venue having, I don't know, but they do, clean air, and say, like, we did this because we want everybody to be safe.
Right. And
I'm making a little less money today.
Yeah, but once you put that out there, you're the safest venue, so it justifies people who are COVID serious or ish, saying, "Well, I'm going to a COVID safe-ish venue," or
right.
It's the way capitalism should handle it versus ignoring it entirely. At least
yes, and because long term it would be so helpful. People would start I don't see them posting anymore, but there was one small like mom and pop restaurant at the beginning of COVID when people were sort of like back up but masking, that talked about like, we only mask inside, all of our tables are outside on the patio, we clean the air inside, like trying to bring people in, we're a safe space for you. Yeah, I know.
And on a local level, like honestly, those businesses can thrive, like, especially because there are so few, that like any business that wants to go full blown, we're COVID safe. I guess I'm in California. It's a little different than maybe some of these really hardcore red states, but they get so much attention. They get national attention. Nationally, people buy products from these companies because they respect what they're doing, so we need some examples out there in the world, and we don't have them, is the problem.
It's kind of amazing to me. You know who, oh gosh, I'm going to get her name wrong. She has a great song that I want to play sometime, but the video is not very good. But Peaches, oh shoot, what is her name? She is a singer, I know, and I think she did a song for Moneyball. I'm not going to remember it. If anybody remembers, she did a song that my kids loved when they were little. It was ABC, so it was like monkey butt. Like she did everything that was kind of gross. Anyway, she started trying to go back on tour, asked everybody to mask, but it has to be optional. You can't force people. And so many people in her first several shows refused that she had to stop her tour. But like her, obviously, I mean, this is my fault. I should know her name if I'm going to bring her up. But if Taylor Swift or Adele or some huge group said that, people would listen.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Can we just get one? Can we get one? Taylor. Pressure Taylor. She's under so much pressure for her climate stuff. Using a private jet to go everywhere.
Yeah.
And
do something good for
do
people.
something good. I mean, she's rich. They put out these videos about how, behind the scenes, her debating her family about
Trump
being, endorsing Biden or coming out against
Right.
Trump. She's like, I don't give a shit. I need to do, it's all fluff stuff. But meanwhile, she's knowingly a super spreader everywhere she goes with COVID.
Really vile.
Anyway.
All right.
But we do see some signs, you got like honesty from Men's Health magazine, which it's always amazed me when I go to the gym, which I haven't done it in months, but I'm going to get back there. But, nobody at the gym is wearing a mask. And like, in theory, you're at the gym for your fucking health.
Your health.
You might
Yeah.
want to tune into your health. So,
No, that's good that they do
it's
that.
good to see.
Another huge vaccine safety study came out. 11 million people were followed. There is no difference in death following vaccination in any demographic when compared to like populations. Just to put that, it doesn't mean that there aren't sometimes side effects, as there are in any vaccine. It can happen. It's horrible when it happens. My family has been personally affected by horrible response to vaccination, but those are the outliers, and that is not science to pick the outlier, the exception to the rule. You have to go with the numbers, and these are wildly safer than getting COVID.
Absolutely. And the science also supports Novavax, which was blocked forever by our own government. We've got studies here saying that its 1-year durability is higher than all the other vaccines.
That's right. Unfortunately, so we got Novavax. It was hard to find. We got it. And if it weren't for people I followed on Twitter, I would not know, because they're not telling you, that you are supposed to treat it like the primary series that you did with the mRNA. So you're supposed to get one and then another one 2 months later. They don't tell you, the pharmacist doesn't tell you that. It's really hard even to find it on the CDC, FDA, Novavax sites. But that is, I think, the way to go right now. So,
based on everything I've ever read and Endor made up in my mind, Novavax is the way to go.
Yeah.
If you can get it. So.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Reflect the Sun. Yes. Kimya Johnson. Juno. It was Juno. You're right. Oh, really? She was at a small sellout crowd in Washington. That's so nice. Thank you for writing that. I love her. She has a really great Black Lives Matter song. I loved it so much. Thank you for doing that. Yes.
Well, I don't know who she is. I'm gonna have to find out.
All right. We'll do her song. We'll do her song next week, maybe.
All right. Final, we have one positive thing. I mean, there's probably more, but it's hard to find positive COVID stuff these days. But there is a rapid test for the air being worked on right now. So you could literally, if you're just going to be the COVID conscious person in a world that's ignoring it, you could at least check the air at a bar or something, or a restaurant.
You'll never be able to go in anywhere, but yes.
Right. It's just
like, I feel like I do have a rapid test, and my test is there's always somebody infected near me, and I always wear a mask indoors. But yes, you're right. Yeah. All right. Let's spin the wheel.
Yeah, let's move on here. What do we got?
Yeah, baby.
That looks like a shot. They want us drinking tonight.
Oh my God. So a few weeks ago, I was so distracted by my red nose that I've been like slathering. I know I'm not supposed to probably give away all my secrets, but slathering like base or foundation. I never wear any of that stuff all over my face and it's worked for 3 weeks. But this week we're drinking so much that I feel like the red is really pushing through. I'm going to have to pancake that makeup on even more.
Well, I'm Irish, so I will have a red nose eventually, I'm sure.
Is that what happens? Cheers.
It's the thing. Okay, we're still spinning.
Yeah, baby.
There we go.
I don't even remember what we put for that, but oh, here we go. Yeah,
This is the most election of our lifetime.
Because even the sneaker thing, I was on social media last night. Yeah. Very interesting as you see black support eroding from Joe Biden. Yeah. This is connecting with Black America because they love sneakers. They're into sneakers. They love this is a big deal, certainly in the inner city. So when you have Trump roll out his sneaker line, they're like, wait a minute, this is cool. He's reaching them on a level that defies and is above politics. The culture always trumps politics. And Trump understands culture like no politician I've ever seen.
Question for you on that point, though.
Yeah.
Will the people that are excited about the sneakers and excited about Donald Trump, will that translate into them going out and voting for Donald Trump?
Well, anybody willing to put $400 down for a pair of sneakers? Yeah, I think that's commitment and love. It's something. Right. It's something. It's affection on some level. I don't think this is just for collectors. It's for people who want Donald Trump brand.
These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see too many people out there. But I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones, you see? That's how far I've come. That's how far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? These lights. We've come a long way together. Lynn Patton.
Good Lord.
Get ready for 4 more years. That is frightening. What an asshole. Oh my God.
It's frightening that this guy right here is gaining ground with all the groups he's racist against. And they're going on Fox saying,
like, yeah,
$400 sneakers is the answer. He's tapping into the psyche of the black voter.
We're going to meet them where they are. Expensive shoes.
It's just crazy. And that, look, at the end of the day, this is that Biden can't beat that. Biden can't even get black supporters to stay in his camp over.
For Biden, he ain't black. Don't you remember?
Bonkers. Oh, yeah.
No, I know. I mean, just disgusting. Just disgusting. All right.
Good old economy is up. Economy. What do we got in the economy? The economy's going great. It's best stock market. We're coming out of inflation better than ever.
Yeah, we got groceries. That's what we're.
Well,
that's what we're.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Asterisk. Unless you need to buy groceries.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that was a whole long setup. Give me faster. That
it wasn't. I just winged it. But yeah, groceries. Come on.
Americans are paying an average $605 more each month for groceries compared with the same time 2 years ago, and $1,019 more compared with 3 years ago. Which is why, I think it was last Thursday, we heard from the CEO of Kellogg's. Listen, guys, he is telling you to eat cereal for dinner if you're a cash-strapped family.
Yeah, and there's a video that goes with this, but it's just like, it's every bit of corporate speak you could imagine about, it's
healthy for you. Everybody's got a bowl and a little bit of milk.
Yeah, breakfast it's gonna play really well with the income impaired,
Yeah,
shit like that.
Yeah, they went to McKinsey school on how to market that, which was funny because obviously just a few months ago this guy was telling us we should, or a year ago I guess, to save money you should skip breakfast. Save it for dinner. They're not even talking eggs, by the way. not eggs. It's cereal.
The worst. I mean, cereal. If you're getting straight granola, great. But other than that, like cereal is one of the worst things you could eat.
Like sugary, carby, like has
crap.
Disaster. So that's one thing. Then, not to be outdone, Wendy's announced a few days later that they were going to start experimenting with surge pricing in 2025, just the way Uber and Lyft do. Wendy's will test dynamic pricing. There's another McKinsey speak for you on burgers, Frosties, and other menu items, which will cost more during times of increased demand. How'd that go?
Dynamic burger prices. So dynamic pricing became a thing. I think I want to put it on the NBA, but I don't know if they were first, but in the NBA, they're like, look, there's more popular games, so we're going to charge more money. And it worked and became the norm. And that's what they were hoping with this. And all of Wall Street was like, oh my God, I hope this fucking works. And all the pundits on CNBC and all these economic shows are like, this is a good trial balloon right here. Let's see how that works out. But to our credit, as a leftist, all the uproar is shut this shit down.
It's amazing that happened because it almost never happens. So kudos to people who spoke out loudly. Because what would happen is, well, as soon as they see that people will spend $8 for a bucket of popcorn, which costs like 20 cents,
right?
Or $5 for a coffee that costs even less than that.
Knowing capitalism and our world, how everything is upside down, what's going to happen is they're just going to shut up about it and do it, or rebrand it as something else.
That's exactly what it's going to do.
The mistake was that they advertised it, that they were going to do it, and let people know.
Yeah.
Because if they just implemented
you're
it,
right.
It's just like, I mean, right now a burger costs you $10, which is crazy for a shitty little hamburger at McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
When you can go to an actual restaurant, a local restaurant, for the same price and get a real legitimate burger usually.
Right.
And that's because of disaster capitalism. They took advantage of people not wanting to go into restaurants, and they're like, well, we can charge full-blown legitimate burger prices for our shitty little fucking burger where we're paying people nothing in an hour to make it.
Yep. Yeah. All of that went up during COVID has not come back down at all. Now, when we go to pick up food up from different restaurants, if we order in, nobody delivers anymore. They're huge delivery prices. So if you go pick it up, there is sometimes as much as a $15 packaging charge for your to-go food.
Yeah.
And then they'll still add on. And, obviously I want to tip people because I was a waitress forever. I know people depend on their tips. But that should be done by the management. Many restaurants now are saying, oh, to help with people's, our employees' health insurance, we're adding an extra, and I don't ever know if that money actually is going to those servers. There's service fees, and then it will say that service fee doesn't go to our servers. It's anyway.
Yeah. Well, don't forget that Biden not only is going to fight to keep enough chips in your bag, they're working on, what was the term? Inflation, something inflation.
Greedflation.
Related. Anyway, the ticket surcharges and whatnot.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What is their big, the thing we can do something about? And even that is we're going to write a little letter to the corporations.
We're going to strongly advise them.
And see if they can stop with these surcharges. But that didn't affect the local restaurants or whatever. It's just a bullshit thing for airline,
Yeah.
It's going to amount to nothing, which is what everything the Democrats do.
That's the plan. That's what they're sticking to.
So we got city CEO. Look at this.
Raised her pay to $26 million because of her amazing streamlined strategy, which is cutting 20,000 jobs, as it reports its worst quarter in 14 years.
I could be an amazing CEO and save money.
Just fire everybody.
Just fire everybody. You get a big ass
call
raise.
it streamline.
Use the right language.
It feels so much nicer when you tell me I'm being streamlined.
Yeah, I mean, we could circle back to this and talk about it later.
Right.
We could workshop this. If we just workshop it, we'll find a way to saved the little guy.
McKinsey is the blight of humanity. This I did think was interesting because we know with all these issues happening with Boeing, it's because they've outsourced so many different parts and tried to cut corners, which is why that door plug that's necessary on certain planes isn't necessary on all of them. But if you make the planes differently and you don't account for that for some of them, then you have to have 2 different manufacturing lines and all that kind of stuff. So why not just slap it into all of them and have nobody? Anyway, this was former Boeing senior manager Ed Pearson refuses to fly on the company's MAX planes. Last year, he scheduled himself on a non-MAX plane for a flight. When he got onto the plane, he realized he was on a MAX, so he got up and got off at the last second. So we should all follow suit. Just like that COVID air, if the plane's not good enough for him, it's not good enough for any of us.
And, I don't encourage anyone to invest in bad stocks and bad companies doing bad business. But if all of us had money and wanted to have more money, we could just follow the Nancy Pelosi stock trader, because they're tracking her stock moves and she just makes every brilliant move. NVIDIA, they have a congressional meeting on cybersecurity, realize that they're going to give this contract to NVIDIA. Next thing you know, she buys all of this NVIDIA stock. And if we had loose income sitting around, you want to make some money, just follow her stock bets.
I mean, I wish she would advertise them ahead of time. Yeah. The fact that she is allowed to continue to get away with this, I mean, they all are, but it is shocking. It is truly, they're just doing all of this out in the open. They don't even care. Their only reason to get into government is to make more money. Tax evasion by millionaires and billionaires tops $150 billion a year, says IRS chief.
Yeah, and we're at the next level phase. I mean, they always blame us. We need to recycle. They put it on an individual
Your
level.
carbon footprint.
Yeah, which we should do what you can, obviously, but
they did just say that plastic actually can't be recycled anyway. That was a big
plastic
lie.
is usually not even being recycled. I mean, plastic bags, for example, in California, it was mandatory to use plastic bags, and it's crazy. And then it was mandatory to bring your own bags.
Right.
At some places.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. And then
they found that those were 40 times more. I'm making that number up, but I think it was even higher than that. It was an astronomically amount higher tax on the environment by using the bags.
The reusable bags?
For example. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Than the plastic ones.
No.
But there's another loophole with plastic bags. The plastic bags aren't being recycled, but there's a loophole. I don't know, something about the thickness of the bag.
Just make it up, Pat, that you're on a roll.
Yeah, and that's why I'm voting for Joe Biden.
But no, I also think that doesn't actually recycle. Like, not only when you put it in the recycling bin and they take it to the recycling plant, do they not actually often recycle? But I don't think that there are many plastics out there that cannot be recycled, which is why they're finding molecules. Now I'm going to make stuff up, but in every single part of all of our bodies. Like, we are just poisoned now.
Yep.
Got one word for you. Plastics. All right. What else do we got?
Well, I mean, look,
here's another guy who did a heck of a job.
Yeah.
Norfolk Southern.
And the anniversary was like just last week, right? The anniversary of the Norfolk Southern plane, East Palestine train
derailment, which is still
37% raise.
37% raise. Did Biden end up going there? He was going to. Did he get like a scoop of ice cream and just walk around with all these people who are struck by cancer now, who pass blood when they go to the bathroom? I didn't see it either. They made a big thing about he was going to finally come visit. For what?
And don't forget, like, we called this out at the time, but Trump gave him like 2 weeks notice that he was going to go visit East Palestine. He's like,
before
I'm
he
going to
threw
go
a
visit.
roll of paper towel.
And Biden didn't choose that 2 week advance notice to do something about it and go there.
I'm not going to be on Trump's times table.
Yeah. And okay, so where I was going with the recycling is
sorry. Oh,
So ExxonMobil CEO says big oil has done its part. It's time for civilians generating emissions to pay.
Jesus Christ. These people are shameless. They're destroying our world and they are shameless. I missed, I don't know why it's not here, but there was something Climate Dad, whose real name I can't remember, but wrote an article about how with the way climate change is going, I mean, we are going to experience severe food shortages, and we are, more and more people are going to become people who are climate migrants, and I think for a lot of people, they've always like sort of looked at other parts of the world and said, oh, poor them. But, it's going to be poor all of us soon. If it wasn't enough to move you when it was happening to somebody else, don't worry, it's coming your way. One more nice moment is the UAW we talked about last week. They are establishing a solidarity project to support Mexican auto workers. And I will now not be able to read all of this because I've drunk too much and it's very small, faint writing. On Wednesday, this is a week ago, the UA International Executive Board voted to establish a new solidarity project to support auto workers in Mexico fighting for economic justice and improved working conditions. The project will provide resources to Mexican workers and independent unions in Mexico and aims to strengthen cross-border solidarity between U.S. and Mexican workers. For decades, corporations have taken advantage of inadequate trade laws to offshore thousands of U.S. manufacturing jobs to Mexico, where worker wages and conditions have long been suppressed. Corporations use the threat of offshoring jobs as a cudgel to beat back worker discontent and organizing efforts in the U.S. And that international solidarity, again, it's like if you're only fighting for yourself, it's going to end up coming back to bite you. So even if it's only out of self-interest, we should all care that everybody is making living wages in every country, so that when they, Tesla now, what are they moving down to Texas because they have,
right?
Yeah, but that hurts everybody.
All the issues we are supposed to be fighting for selfishly even impact us, like climate change. If immigration is a concern of yours and you're even a right winger on it, well, a lot of the immigration is due to climate change. It's unlivable conditions in some of these other countries, pushing people, too much pressure on the local economy, so they come to the U.S. Right. Yep. So if you want less immigration from these dangerous people, which is all bullshit, you should care about climate change. If you want wages lifted up, you get health care here to people, and it's not such a burden on businesses, so more products can be made here.
Yep. Protect. I mean, we're only as healthy as our least healthy, and that's for everything. And thinking about Israel also just for a moment, and that idea that part of the establishment and the way to justify it was deciding that nobody has ever suffered as much as the Jews, and that the Holocaust is a singular event, and it is a singular horrific event. But there are other people, we don't talk about what's happening to people in Congo, right? Or what, even before that, I think 11 million people were killed in Africa, the turn of the century. So I think when you decide that you're not going to have solidarity with everyone who is suffering, you sort of balkanize all the movements, and then you're just left by yourself. And I mean, I guess I feel like if anything can be taken from all of this, is that nothing will change if we don't all band together. If you're only looking out for your small group, it is just an exercise in futility.
100%. And that connects back to COVID too, because the world ignoring COVID is because the US ignored COVID, and China did a little better, but they had to open up because the economic
because of the US, because of pressure.
Because the idea that we need to keep producing more and more and more and more is bullshit anyway, but it's capitalism, and people have bought that to the degree that we're going to make ourselves unsafe because that's so important.
Yeah.
But if
the
it's
economy running.
equalized across the world, nobody feels that pain, really. You know, there are other ways around this, but
yeah.
Anyway, there's another good thing I wanted to point out. And More Perfect Union does a great job highlighting all the workers' rights issues and strikes, but Amazon lobbyists are banned from the European Parliament.
Amazing.
So we could learn from that. I mean, imagine if we changed that system alone, money out of politics, but that's a bullshit.
How would Nancy Pelosi grow her wealth?
But
on a measly $174,000. Yeah, that's great.
Parliamentarians. So fuck yeah. Good job.
More banning of lobbyists. Here. Before we end, we want to make sure that we also thank Cora. Thank you so much. $20 super chat. Thank you. $3.99 for all you can eat. Stuff my face a funky beat. You're hilarious.
I want to drink a beer that's got billionaires ground up.
Tears.
Tears. Yeah. I was thinking more cannibalistic, but
yeah. I will watch you. I don't want to ruin my drink, but I will watch you drink that down.
Amen.
I do definitely. It's causing a lot of hate in my heart, seeing what's happening in our world.
Yeah.
These people who do not have a conscience.
We did want to go out. We last week neglected as two white hosts. We were terrible. Lack of solidarity was astounding on Malcolm X's birthday.
It was completely inadvertent, but yeah, we
dropped the ball. So we want to go out with the words of Malcolm X, and I just want to say thank you, everybody. Appreciate it, and
yeah, you all are awesome.
Solidarity.
Thank you so much. Solidarity. We keep talking over each other. Solidarity. Thanks for tuning in. We love you guys. Keep punching up. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Struggle is not just a cry for justice. It's a blistering battle for the most fundamental human rights that every living soul on this planet should inherit by birthright. It's an unyielding resistance against the oppressive, suffocating grip of occupation and the callous denial of the most basic human dignity. Just as the civil rights movement in the United States fought against the chains of racial discrimination, so too do the Palestinian people strive to shatter the chains of occupation and tyranny. Never forget, my friends, that the Palestinians, much like African Americans in the United States, have been subjected to a heart-wrenching history of suffering and torment. The birth of Israel in 1948 brought forth the mass expulsion and dispossession of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their ancestral homes and land. This is a historic injustice that continues to haunt the lives of Palestinians to this very day. The situation in Palestine serves as a brutal reminder of the consequences of colonialism and the ruthless dispossession of indigenous peoples. It is an agonizing reminder that the fight for justice knows no borders, and we must stand united in solidarity with all oppressed peoples, whether they reside in the United States, South Africa, or anywhere around the world. Let's be unequivocally clear. Advocating for the rights of the Palestinian people is not synonymous with denying the rights and security of the Jewish people. The fight for justice in Palestine is not an assault on any particular group, but an unwavering stand against the policies of a Zionist state that has for far too long stripped Palestinians of their rights. We must remember that numerous Jewish voices also resound in the calls for justice and peace in Palestine, and their voices must not be silenced. In our relentless pursuit of justice for the Palestinian people, we must also acknowledge that it is in the best interest of the entire world to seek a just and enduring solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It is a pursuit in the name of peace, stability, and the dignity